Alright, it is FrOzenSwipe here, and I do apologise for that week or so that went by where I didn't really post anything. It's just that I've been like ridiculously busy with school and everything, and actually having to do homework for once, which I'm just not used to. I mean, I've come out of a year where I've done fuck all basically for the entire school year, and then I've had summer as well, which is an extra 3 months on top of that. Technically you could count the summer before that, which is another 3 months on top of that. So having to actually do work, that's completely foreign to me now, and I think I've already explained this in a different commentary, but I should really kind of move on a little bit. Well, basically, yeah, I haven't had like a lick of spare time, to be quite perfectly honest, and this can be shown quite simply by the fact that my friend gave me his Blu-ray copy of Drive, which is meant to be an amazing movie, and he gave that to me 3 weeks ago. I still have not found the time to sit down and watch that. I just haven't had 2 hours to myself where I can literally just do nothing, because usually I'm too busy doing homework, and even then, you know, by the time I finish up, either I'm trying to kind of, you know, maintain whatever is left of my social life, which has also taken a severe hit, or I'm trying to go to sleep. Because, quite frankly, when you go to 5th year, you've got a choice between 3 things. You can choose to have good grades, a social life, or enough sleep. And you can only have 2 of those. I picked good grades and enough sleep, so anything else kind of gets thrown in the back. It's not as much of a priority. But anyway, I should actually move on to what I was actually going to talk about this, because I'm sure you're probably intrigued by what the hell I mean by the title. Also, as a formality, I just should probably introduce a gameplay, because usually that's what I do. I'm sorry, I'm a little ring rusty when it comes to the whole commentating thing, because it's been quite a while since the last time I've actually sat down and done a proper commentary. So, you know, it's like any other skill that you kind of have to maintain. But nonetheless, the gameplay is a game of domination on Nuketown, which you've probably figured out at this stage, which kind of needs to go without saying. But nonetheless, well, it's kind of redundant, and seeing that's going to be a main point that I'm going to make in this video. It's kind of ironic, but you'll see in a minute. You'll probably recognize parts of this gameplay from my last Call of Duty video, which was a day in the life of FrOzenSwipe, and if you haven't seen that video, definitely recommend you check it out. There will probably be an annotation that will come up right around here that you can click on, and it will open it in a new video, or in a new tab I should say, and you can check that out and you can watch it there. So obviously that's great. I'll probably put a link in the description as well if, you know, clicking on annotations is not enough for you. If you're wondering why I'm doing this, it's quite frankly just shameless self-promotion. And while I'm on this bandwagon, I might as well shamelessly self-promote the videos that I did put up in the last 2 weeks, which were, well, it was basically one Pokemon episode, but I had to divide it into 2 episodes, and you'll quickly see why if you start watching the video. But I actually figured, you know, for any of you guys who have been following my Pokemon series, it is probably one of the best Pokemon episodes I've ever put out, despite the fact that I do end up getting lost, and it drags on for ages, and basically it ends up taking a lot longer than it needs to, which is unfortunate. But from a commentary's point of view, I actually thought it was quite good, and as I was editing back and listening back to the commentary, I thought it was probably one of the more entertaining Pokemon episodes that I've done, so definitely check it out. Also the fact that they didn't really get many views, and by many I mean they got practically nothing, so yeah, you know, check those out as well. Annotations right around here. And yeah, now that we're done with all of this shameless self-promotion, we might as well move on to the actual topic of this commentary, which I'm sure you're all very intrigued by the title. And wow, like nearly 4 minutes in, we haven't even gotten to what we're meant to talk about, but it doesn't matter, it's a very long gameplay anyway, so we might as well just get right into it now. And I just want to preface this by saying that I wouldn't consider myself a grammar Nazi. You know, I don't generally mind if you make a spelling mistake, or if you don't use proper grammar or punctuation or whatever, as long as I'm able to understand what you are trying to say, then it's fine. I genuinely don't care. However, if, for example, if I'm trying to piss my friends off or something like that, or if I'm just purposely trying to, you know, piss people off, then I will rip the piss out of your spelling and your grammar and your punctuation and everything. Why? Just because it's fun, to be quite perfectly honest. It's really fun, especially for some people who are bad at it, and, you know, they get so pissed off when you keep doing that. And the funny thing is, the more pissed off they get, the worse their spelling and their grammar generally tends to get, and it's just this vicious cycle, and it gets to the point where they don't even want to talk to you anymore, and then you become completely alienated from all of your friends, and you end up doing commentaries like this one. Yeah, totally worth it. It was freaking hilarious. Nonetheless, I might as well move on. Generally speaking, I don't mind using abbreviations, or you know, cutting words short or things like that, shortening words, or even lol speak to an extent has, you know, quite a bit of actual merit to it, purely because you're basically taking the information that you would have conveyed anyway and condensing it into fewer characters. And I completely understand that. If anything, it's a more efficient arrangement. You're making less work for yourself. If there's a restriction on the number of characters you can use, you can cram more information into the same space. So obviously, you know, that makes sense. It's efficient and it works. However, what I just cannot stand are people who intentionally misspell words, but don't necessarily shorten them. In fact, what they end up doing is they end up adding letters to the words to the point where these words become longer than the original word itself. And this shite just drives me up the wall because I genuinely don't see the point of it. And this is going to be a fine example of it right here. Tote, Aki, Momo, when your boss tells you you're wearing too much makeup, ha, XX. Now, I'm not trying to be mean here by purposely slagging off as I'm reading that. That's genuinely what the voice inside my head sounds like as I am trying to decipher this shit. I mean, look what you've done, okay? The voice inside my head as I'm reading words is generally a very sophisticated fellow, pronounces all of his words perfectly, a nice, upstanding citizen. But what have you done? You've gone ahead and you've given him severe brain trauma to the point where he can barely pronounce words anymore, let alone string a fucking sentence together. I hope you're happy. I mean, he's got a wife and kids he has to support. Now he's completely out of the job. I mean, how is he possibly expected to perform the job that he usually does with such a massive disability? I mean, yeah, okay, he gets the disability pension out of it, but that's not enough to put his kids through college. That's barely enough to sustain his family as it is now. I hope you're happy, you monsters. But on a more logical and argumentative point, personally, I just don't see the use in it. It's completely redundant. You are adding more characters and giving yourself more work. You have to type more letters in order to do this. If anything, it would be easier if you typed it out in actual English as opposed to trying to encrypt it for some reason. And I generally don't see the point in this. Like, what is it that is so secret that you have to personally encrypt it so that only specific people are able to decipher the information that you are putting out there? I genuinely don't see the point of it. I mean, yeah, okay, if you gave this to a military codebreaker, they would not be able to crack this. I mean, they would be using ciphers and, you know, trying to find any sort of pattern or logic or reason to this stuff, and they'd be stumped. They'd be stuck there for hours not knowing what to do with it. And personally, it takes me so long to decipher this shit. As you saw there, I mean, generally, if it was a normal sentence, I could, you know, go through it and read it at a normal pace, but it takes me so long to decipher this shit, only to find that the people who speak like this generally have nothing interesting or intelligent to say. That's not to say that they're not interesting or intelligent people, though it is kind of. It just frustrates me. Quite frankly, I wouldn't mind as much if it managed to become a separate language even of itself. You know, it wouldn't annoy me as much if it just broke all ties from the English language and just kind of became its own separate dialect. However, the fact of the matter is that every single one of these people who type like this, who usually refer to themselves as Bebo Stunnahs, not even spelled correctly, spelled as you saw on the screen right there, which, again, frustrating, I know. It has more characters in the word. No, I'm not even going to go there. The problem is that, you know, every single person seems to encrypt this shite differently, and as a result, it can't be one unified, universally accepted dialect as a result. So the closest thing it is to English. So unfortunately, it continues to completely degrade and practically kill the English language as we know it today, at least in its written form. Which, you know, that's not a good thing, guys. I think we can all agree. Also, the fact that people just seem to add unnecessary X's and O's to the end of these. I mean, do you even know what they mean? They mean hugs and kisses. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen two teenage girls say, "Oh, bye, babes," and then start groping and hugging and kissing each other in public. So why do you add that to the end of your messages? I genuinely don't see the point. I say teenage girls just because, you know, you never really see guys do that. I mean, if guys did it, you would be asking some serious questions if your friend sent you a text with a bunches of X's and O's at the end of it. You know, you're kind of, at that point, you're kind of hoping he's taking a piss. And quite frankly, I think I'm a very understanding person and I try to understand other people's perspectives on things, but I just can't get my head around this. What is the point? That's what I want to know. And if you are someone who talks like this, then please let me know. Preferably in English and not in whatever the hell you call that, because I genuinely don't see it. I mean, I don't understand. Is it cool to make it look like you have a learning disability every time you try to deploy any sort of information in a written form? I don't know. Maybe it is nowadays. Maybe I'm just not hip with the kids anymore, despite the fact that I'm 17 and I'm not exactly that old, even though through the course of this commentary I suppose I probably sound like a 40-year-old man complaining about everything. But that pretty much sums up everything I have to say. I don't think I have anything more to say at this point. If you liked the video, then feel free to leave a like. It helps me out a lot, and I'd really appreciate it. If you didn't like the video, well then it's probably too late for me to change your opinion at this stage, so you might as well just leave a dislike, seeing as that's probably what you're going to do anyway. And if you're completely indifferent to the video, then feel free to do absolutely nothing. I'm sure that's something you're more than capable of. This has been FrOzenSwipe. I hope you've enjoyed, and thanks very much for watching.